This is a very good venue for us. We've been an active participant for many years in supporting it, and we find the presentations to be very relevant and good, as well as the networking opportunities.
I think this is one of the great venues for having lots of professionals in the industry come together once a year, almost like a ritual, and showing the greatest and latest from everybody and talking to each other and understanding what's going on.
Conferences like this, I learn a lot. I don't travel that much. I don't go to all that many meetings, but Global Mill Satcom is one of the ones that's definitely worth going to.
Please tell us about Gilat Satellite Networks products and services dedicated to the military market.
Right. Gilat has been active in the defense market for about 4 years. We have acquired 2 companies in the process, Wavestream from California and RaySat, who's doing the low-profile antennas. Together with them and internal development that we've done on very unique modems, we have a solution which is dedicated for on-the-move users, mainly for the defense, but also for homeland security, and it sometimes expands to some civilian applications as well. On that, we have, I believe, a very unique combined solution of all 3 systems: the low-profile antenna, the special modem, and the power amplifier. Very important to put all 3 of them together, and you get 1 + 1 + 1 = more than 3. I can expand on that quite much more, but
it relates to mobility then. Tell us a bit about how that hardware applies to markets such as unmanned aerial vehicles, aeronautical platforms, maritime, for specifically the government military markets.
I think we should start with understanding that all these users, many of the defense users, are facing the same need as many organizations, that they need to manage a large infrastructure of individual units, and they need to get broadband IP to each of those units. That's a common phenomenon in the consumer market, in the business market, and it is going more and more into the defense market as well. In the past, it was not possible. Antennas were too big, power consumption was too large, consumption into the satellite resource was too large. It wasn't possible to equip each and every vehicle, either UAV or maritime or land vehicles, in the ability to have satellite broadband. Of course, defense users cannot rely on the infrastructure which is around them, either cellular or even wireless, because it would either be hostile or non-existent at the time of use. So they have to go to satellite. Now that the equipment, the units, the terminals have become smaller, that become a possibility. And that possibility expands to all the different forces. Ships, maritime use have been there for quite some time. They've been able to carry heavier antennas, to carry the power load, and they've been doing it for some time. Aircrafts, to a certain extent as well, the terminals have been smaller. They've been much more expensive. In the land scene, it hasn't been really, hasn't proliferated for quite some time. Now that the terminals have gone smaller, cheaper, and lower in power consumption, that opened up a lot of possibilities for all these users. With the growth in UAV use in parallel, you start seeing more and more UAVs going beyond line of sight, need for control and communication, control on one hand and communication back from the pods on the other hand. So all this opens up a huge market. It enables the users on one hand to do what they wanted to do for some time, up to the extent that some of them don't even realize this is possible today, which is the main problem of us, to evangelize the issue, evangelize the solution across the user's community. So it enables the user to do what they wanted to do before. And it enables the vehicles to become smaller. For example, we have a system that is, I believe it's the only system today which can go into UAV category 3, which means it was a relatively small UAV which could not carry a normal big parabolic terminal, and the only thing it could carry is 12, 13 kilograms of SATCOM payload. And we deliver exactly that. So it opens up a category of UAVs which hasn't been in service for SATCOM before. On the land side, again, there are tactical vehicles in need of broadband communication to the vehicle, say from a nearby asset, either flying asset or observation post. They need that communication into the vehicle, and they want to transmit back from the vehicle video or C4I information, locations. That hasn't been possible before. That is possible now, and this is what we push out at this stage. It's very interesting because it's really cutting edge technology, really pioneering equipment which is going out there, as opposed to what we had before, which is adaptation of existing terminals into military use. We now have pieces of equipment which are designed from the bottom up to fit that particular use, which is it's an exciting time in the industry.
You talk about cutting edge, so therefore, tell me what you think will be the makeup of the military demand going forward. How is that going to evolve in the next few years? Because you mentioned many things like size, you mentioned also bandwidth, and you mentioned new technologies from the bottom up. How do you see that evolving? How do you see that demand evolving, and how is that possible to evolve products to meet that demand?
It's a very good question, Carl, because we're talking about a very conservative industry, people who doing things the way they used to be done, and we coming out and we're saying, hey, you can do more. It takes time. We need to prove ourselves. We're in the process of doing that, proving ourselves in testing, in initial installations. And the early adopters are really taking a good portion of that, which is great. And this is clearly evolving to large numbers because the whole asset population of a force that needs to be either an expeditionary force that goes to a foreign area or a force that operates in an area of no infrastructure, like we have such forces in Asia or in Latin America or even in Europe where the infrastructure is not granted. They face the need to equip all of their unit in terms of up to the smaller unit with that communication. So the only way is up. They only increase the circles of communication that are going there. If in the past you had satellite communication going only into the division level with some strategic links, now it is going down and down to the battalion, to the up to the company level, which might have some small communication ability with it. So the circles are growing. The price of equipment is going down. The size is going down. The bandwidth is going up. It enables more users to join those circles. And therefore the numbers are growing up again, which feeds the whole loop. And we're seeing that starting now.